everybody, welcome back to Singing Creek Farm. We are here in the kitchen. This is Devona and I am Danielle. How old are you, Devona?
6.
And we're not saying how old I am.
Mommy's 30.
Oh, thank you, Devona. Yes, I am 30. I just turned 30. My 20s are long gone. Today we are going to be making Devona's favorite dinner rolls. And they are actually a milk bread, and they have a lot less kneading time than the other breads we have made. This is going to be the third episode in our series of bread baking basics, where you can bake along with me with each episode, and by the end of it, you should be very confident in pretty much any kind of yeasted bread. Excuse my voice as we go in and out. We have all been sick, and we're finally over it enough that I have enough of my voice back that I can talk. So hopefully it doesn't go out too often during this video, but please bear with me. Are you ready to get started? All right, so as opposed to the last two breads, we were making a big loaf of bread, and in that we needed to have a lot of structure to hold the bread up. When it rose, it needed to be able to hold that form. Here, because we are making a bunch of rolls, they kind of hold each other up, and we want them to be a lot softer than we do a loaf of bread. So because of that, we're not using any bread flour, and we don't have to knead it as much. So it's a lot faster and simpler if you're wanting to just quickly put some rolls on the table. So are you ready? All right, so this right here is whole milk that I have warmed up in the microwave for just a few minutes. It is, I would say, just like hot tap water temperature. And this is 1 2/3 cups. Devona, can you slowly pour that in here? And then to that, we are going to add 1 tablespoon of yeast. And then we are also going to add 1/3 cup.
This is a funny whisk.
It is, it's a bread whisk. 1/3 cup of sugar. Like all other breads, we are going to let this bubble. We're going to let the yeast wake up, start to eat that sugar, and get our yeast really alive and active before we move on to the next step. It is all foamy. It looks a little different. It's harder to see when it's in milk, but we are definitely foamy and ready to go to the next step. And someone woke up from their nap and is going to be helping us. But as you can see, the yeast is all foamy, and we are good to go to the next step. All right, baby Elle, can you hold this? Brielle woke up from her nap, so she is joining us today. In here, I have 1 egg that is beaten. It's actually one of our duck eggs. And a 1/4 cup of oil. Devona, can you pour that in here? And then I am also going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I have found that just a little bit of vanilla really helps make these sweet dinner rolls have a good flavor. Let's stir that a little bit. Good job, baby Elle.
Good job, sugar.
Now we are going to start adding the flour. So we're going to go ahead and add 1 cup of all-purpose flour. Can you start stirring it, baby Elle? And we are also going to add the salt now. We're going to do 2 teaspoons of salt. You never want to add the salt directly to the yeast mixture. You want to add some flour first because salt can actually kill yeast. All right, baby Elle, can you put this in? Good job. And we're going to start with a total of 4 cups and see what it looks like. Can you put that in? Good job. More. Pour that in. Good job. So this is looking really wet, so we're definitely going to go ahead and add at least 1 more cup of flour. You can get a shot of this.
Yeah.
Very wet, so I'm going to do 1 more cup. Let me do it. Oh, that's raw egg, baby Elle. I know you were about to eat that, weren't you? So now that we've added that 5th cup, it is all coming together. It's not sticking to the side, so it is time to roll it out. And we're gonna start kneading it by hand. Clean it off of this. Now girls, if you wanna help knead, you've gotta go wash your hands, okay? We're a lot closer than we were.
Oh, you found a chicken.
Devona wants to help knead, so roll your sleeves up a bit. So all the other bread we have made in this series, we have done a window pane test on, which is where you pull the bread really thin and hold it up. This one won't even do it because we're so far from that step, but you hold it up to a window and see if you can see light through it. This, because we don't need it to have the same amount of structure. In fact, we don't want it to have that much structure because we want it to be super soft and really come apart when we tear it. We are not going to knead it as long. So basically, when I knead it, I can tell that it's really ripping every time I knead it. I don't know if you would care to get a close-up on that. Right here, whenever I'm kneading it, you can see it doesn't come away smooth. So I am just going to knead the bread until it starts to come away smooth and it's just more together. All right, we've been kneading our bread and it is a lot smoother now. So we are going to combine our 2 lumps into one and just kind of make a good sized little dough ball. And now we are going to let the bread rise. And so we are going to take our bowl that I've rinsed out. I'm just going to spray some olive oil in it. And we're going to plop this down into the bowl and cover it with a damp cloth. You can also use saran wrap. And we are going to let this sit for about 30 to 45 minutes. It is very warm today, so I think we're not gonna have to wait long, but the goal is for it to double in size. And while we're waiting on it to do that, I'm gonna show you all a quick little thing you can do with bread that has gone past its prime. So this is bread that I made a few days ago, and it was not sealed properly when it was stored, and so it has started to go stale. This half is a lot better than this back half. But I know I'm not the only one that this happens to, so I wanted to show you how to salvage it and be able to use it for something else. You can also do this with bread that got burned or just was a flop when it came out of the oven. All right, girls, stop touching it, please. I don't want you to get a boo-boo. So I'm actually going to turn this into bread cubes. No, that's not what they're called. What are they called?
Croutons?
Croutons. So I'm actually going to turn these into croutons. So you can also turn it into breadcrumbs if you want to do the crouton step first. Let it dry out, and then you can just put it through a blender. You move over here so she can't get it. So I'm just going to try to cut these into 1-inch cubes. And then what I'm going to do is put it on a baking sheet. Do you want to eat it? It's a little stale.
What do you think, baby Elle? Is that yummy? Yummy? Oh boy.
So I'm just going to cut the whole thing into cubes. And if you have a really big bread knife, this will be pretty easy for you. And then these keep really long if you put them in your pantry. You can just put them in a gallon bag or even mason jars. And then anytime you have salad or soups, it's very easy just to put these on top. So I'm not going to give you a specific time for how long to do it in the oven because it really depends on how stale your bread was in the first place. But I'm basically just going to take these and put them straight onto a sheet pan. And then after I've got the sheet pan filled up, I'm going to be baking these at 350, and I'm going to check them every 5 minutes until it feels like they're really nice and hard, nice and crunchy. Our dough has doubled in size. It is looking good. You see it? All right, so now we are going to punch it down. Make sure we got all the air bubbles out of it. Oh, it smells so good. You smell it? Does it smell good? Yeah. So after we get all of the air out of it, we are now going to turn it into our rolls. So we are just going to make it into a big rope. And now that we have our rope, can I have this? I'm just gonna take it and try to give everything the same size. And now that we've got these, we are just simply going to roll them into a ball. We're gonna start, you gonna do one? Making our pile of dough balls right there. We have got all of our dough balls rolled out. They're relatively the same size. So I have a 9x13 cake pan here. I'm just gonna spray it with olive oil. And I'm sure, as you see, we're gonna have an odd guy out, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and put these into the pan. And we don't want them to be touching because we need to give them room to rise. You wanna do it? I'll probably just bake that one on its own. But here they are. I don't have them touching so that as they rise, they're all gonna touch each other. And so we are just going to cover this with our damp cloth again and let them double in size once more. And then we'll put an egg wash on them and put them in the oven. They have doubled in size. So we are now going to cover them with an egg wash. This is just 1 egg mixed with 1 tablespoon, excuse me, my voice is going in and out, of water, and whisked that. So we're just gonna put a brushing of that onto all of these rolls. Mine is probably gonna look more yellow than yours if you don't have fresh eggs from your backyard, and that is okay. So I'm just gonna brush all of these, and then we are going to put it in the oven at 350 for 30 to 35 minutes. You wanna make sure that they are golden brown and that the center of them is at least 190 degrees. Also, here are the croutons. I left them in there for probably about 10 minutes until they're golden brown and they've got all the moisture out of them. So now I just put them in Ziploc bags and keep them in the pantry. I don't know exactly how long they stay good for because I've always used them before they go bad, but at least a month. And they're great on lots of things, which conveniently we're having salad for dinner. And so I highly recommend homemade croutons on a salad. You can even season these with a little olive oil and some ranch seasoning or salt and pepper, or just whatever you want to do before you put it in the oven, or even after, right before you put it on for that little extra zest. Just came out of the oven. They are looking amazing. If you're ever questioning if they're ready, you can just take a thermometer and stick it in the side where no one's gonna see. So long as it's 190 or close to it, you are good to go. And now what we are going to do, while this is still hot, I just got this out of the oven. This is 2 tablespoons of butter mixed with 2 tablespoons of honey. And I just put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. And I'm going to quickly brush all of these rolls while they're still piping hot with the honey and butter mixture. And this is going to soak into the bread and just give it a little bit of extra sweetness, and it's going to make the top really soft. All right, the rolls are ready, so I'm just gonna get them out. The pan was still pretty hot, but these are ready to go. The glaze has hardened on top, so it's not super sticky. They're still kind of warm, but look at this. They are so good. I know Easter's coming up. If you're looking for an Easter roll recipe, I highly recommend this one. Oh, we have another one. You want to try it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good job. Is it tasty? Tasty? Is it yummy in your tummy? I think it's a success. It's very fluffy on the inside. It's very sweet. These also make really great little sandwich buns. I will often make a bunch of these. I'll slice the whole thing in half, put ham, cheese, little mustard and mayonnaise, and toast it once more, and then I have a dozen sandwiches for everybody. You can also make these half the size if you want little mini rolls. But yeah, we get through these pretty quickly. Thank you all for joining us so much. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them below. And as always, I appreciate it so much when you all like and subscribe and share. Can you tell our friends goodbye?